Your girl Kelly is back, my St. Louis City fam. Yes, yes, y'all. The Board of Aldermen have returned from their summer break, which means your girl is back too. So I'm here to give you the lowdown on what happened in St. Louis City government this week, and I'm gonna get it right into it with like three-ish highlights. So the first, the Health and Human Services Committee of the Board of Aldermen met on Tuesday, and the health department was really there to really say, hey, we know we got a lot of work to do in truly engaging St. Louis City residents, particularly Black and brown St. Louisans, because there's been a lot of harm done to the community historically when we're talking about just anything health related. And obviously, this pandemic has truly exacerbated and shown the light that people ain't checking for the health department and people ain't checking for a lot of these medical institutions. And when I say people, I mean, again, our Black and brown folks. So the health department appears to really be making an effort to really get an understanding of what the needs of St. Louis City residents are, especially, again, our Black and brown folks, right? And also they want to work and partner with the Board of Aldermen, again, to make sure that the city of St. Louis and their residents, their health is the best that it can be, right? Because that's their job, is to support the health and well-being of all St. Louisans. So with that being said, they have released a survey. I'll be sure to provide the link when I post this in case you missed it episode. So we can fill it out. As they say, y'all, closed mouths don't get fed, and it's about time that we get what it is that we not only need, but what we deserve in this city to make sure we're thriving and out here doing our thing for ourselves and our babies. So I'm done being on my soapbox. I'm going to move it along, keep it moving right to the next highlight, which is around the city jails discussion. So the Public Safety Committee, they met on Tuesday. Yes, on Tuesday. And representatives from corrections were present to really discuss a couple of things. So number one, and I know this was my question because unfortunately, as we all know, at the city jail, it seems like there's an uprising damn near every week. So, and one of the reasons is an issue with the locks. So apparently they are working on not only replacing the locks, but upgrading them, right? Making them stronger and less able to be, I guess, tampered with by detainees. And they are estimating or anticipating that all of the locks in the city jail will be upgraded by April 2022. And there were also some other upgrades that they expressed that were needed as well, including improving reinforcement of the windows as well as the furnitures in the facility, upgrading their 20-year fire alarm system, and also making sure that they're direct supervision station. So it's kind of like the center station, so to speak, where the lock mechanism is controlled by corrections officers. And currently right now it's like really open and really accessible to the detainees. So they're really looking at changing that so that it isn't as easily accessible to detainees. And again, just thinking about overall safety, right, within that facility. So if you combine all of those changes needed, upgrade is needed, right, with the locks and all that other stuff, we're looking at $19.5 million. And how much money do they have to work with to make these changes? About $7 million. So, there's 12-ish million left that they need to make all these changes. So how they gonna get that money? That's the $1 million. Well, actually, I guess that would be the $12 million question. So I don't know. We shall see. Something else that was discussed during this committee meeting was the Workhouse. And as y'all know, it's been defunded. So technically it isn't operating because no money's budgeted to house the detainees there. However, because there is some overcrowding going on in the city jails right now, there are about 48 detainees that are currently being housed at the Workhouse, which hosts a lot of issues because the workhouse currently does not have like medical care, so folks that can provide, again, like medical care if there happens to be a medical emergency there with the detainees that are there. It's obviously not an ideal situation, but I guess it is what it is right now. Combined, so we were told combined the two facilities, so the workhouse and the city jail, there are over 100 people. Well, there are 100 people over capacity. And they mentioned there are folks sleeping on the floor in the city jail. So obviously the alder folks in that committee, they weren't too happy about hearing that, and literally was like, yo, close the workhouse, people. Where y'all at now? You know, you're talking about these inhumane conditions at the workhouse, right? And that's why you want it closed. However, the workhouse is closed, but you have some of these inmates that are in even more inhumane conditions than before. So did things get better? You know, and I guess they just feel like it was like reckless, irresponsible, just that whole process, and that there was no true plan in place before the workhouse was closed. So again, that issue to be continued, TBC. So lastly, but certainly not least, with the highlights for this week. During today's over 3 hour, yes, more than 3 hour meeting with the Board of Aldermen, more than half of that time was spent on the perfection of Board Bill number 40. If passed, this would change the City of St. Louis traffic calming policy, specifically regarding speed humps. So I said humps, not bumps. There is a difference, y'all. So speed bumps, you know, you roll over them joints, you got the jolt. With the speed humps, it's a lot more, I guess, less aggressive. So you kind of roll over a little bit. You don't jolt, but, you know, it's still kind of there. And so, as we all know, people out here driving real reckless these days. No matter where you go, north side, south side, west side. I mean, it's ridiculous out here. And so, the alder people have expressed in, you know, multiple times in meetings I've attended, just how the process of getting these speed humps installed is just ridiculous. You know, they mentioned currently alder folks, they have to request the director of streets to get a traffic study done, and that can cost you like a good $900 a pop. And then, you know, the alder folks, they pay out of it from the pocket of funding that each wards get. Is called ward capital funding. So they have to dip into their ward capital funding coin to pay for these studies. And then, you know, even getting the study done, it doesn't guarantee that people are going to get these humps. You know, a lot of alder people have complained, look, I done spent the money on this stuff, and I'm still waiting on my hump. So all in all, it's not a good thing. And you have folks that have been waiting like 3 to 5 years for these speed humps in their wards. So if passed, this particular legislation would basically allow alder people to get humps in their wards through the passage of an ordinance. So this would do away with the need for the traffic study before the humps being placed in the wards. But if the alder person, if they do want a traffic study, they can get a traffic study, but it won't come from their ward capital funding. Instead, I believe the cost will be covered internally through the streets department, I believe, is what they mentioned. So yeah. So there are a lot of issues about this piece of legislation. So the folks that were for this piece of legislation said, look, you know, we were elected to support our constituents and give the people what they want and what they say they need. And if I'm fielding hundreds of calls and hella emails every day talking about we want these speed humps, well, damn it, I'm going to give these people they speed humps. Because clearly they're living on that street. They know what they want. They know what they need. So let's give them their humps and cut out all of this bureaucratic BS and give the people what they want and what they need to make sure they feel safe, you know, in their neighborhoods. So that's one thing, right? There's also an issue that was expressed by Alderwoman Tyus about the inequities when we're talking about these speed humps and some of these other street calming measures that are implemented in the city. You know, there's a difference between the time streets people move, you know, to put the speed humps and all that other stuff on the south side compared to the north side. So that was expressed. And, you know, just the fact that it's just really expensive. Alderman Vaccaro, he said, look, the speed study is more expensive than the damn hump. And ain't nobody checking for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So those were some of the arguments for the piece of legislation. The folks that were against the legislation, I know Alderwomen Navarro and Green really said, look, going war by war with approving these speed humps in this kind of piecemeal, kind of here, there fashion. Ain't nobody trying to check for that. And that it may even end up being worse than what's happening now. Instead, they suggested a comprehensive, data-driven process to really figure out and lay out, you know, how these humps are placed. Again, you know, they're talking about being more strategic about this. So it don't turn out being dumb as hell. And they also mentioned, you know, hey, we're not traffic or streets engineers. So we really need to defer that to the experts, right? So those were the arguments against. So all in all, what was the final verdict? The bill was perfected. Yes, overwhelmingly so. There were like 20-ish alder people that voted for perfection. Those that voted against it were alder people in Gracia, Martin, Green, and Navarro. And those that voted present were Cone and Rice. So yeah. Woo, child. I'm still recovering from that 3+ hour meeting board of aldermen. So anyways, that's all I have for you this week. Please stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. You'll see me soon. Peace.